In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create a drill down bar chart. As you can see here, when we click on this, it changes to the different sales. But of course, you could just go to the T sales, or if we go back here to the original, and if I click on T, it will show us the T data here of the different items. And of course, it can go back all the way to the first page. So let's start to look how we can do this. So let's start to look how to do this. The first thing what you have to do is make sure you get the border template, which you can find here in chartjs3.com. Getting started once you're on here. Scroll down and copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to have the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page. And of course, got a question, put it on Discord. So what we're going to do here now is the following. We're going to create a drill down chart. And for that, we have some work to do. Well, the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all of this. I'm going to create here 3 different items. So let's put that in there, and let's say this will be start. We'll give it a start, and then we'll just give it our starting item here. Let's call this our hot or coffee and tea sales. All right, and this will be coffee, and the other one will be tea. So once we did this, remove all excess, and we're just going to make a very basic example. Here, I'll just get this, and I think a green one would be nice. So we're going to remove everything else, and let's say 1 and 1. So these are solid colors. Copy that here, and put it in there. All right, refresh. Oh, nothing happens yet. Why? Because we need to make sure that this will eventually be here. So what I'm going to say here, for this one, this will be equal to remove everything and put it in like that. Start data equals start. Am I correct? And of course, no, sorry, my bad. This needs to be this equals start. Very straightforward because it is the whole object already. Save, refresh. Now we have this. So what I want to do is I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to make 2 more. And there will be one that says coffee. Well, this is be called coffee, but this will be, let's say, 2 different countries, Brazil, and then we have another one for coffee, Vietnam. And then here the labels, coffee and tea sales. There's a coffee sales or export. And then for now, I'll just keep everything similar color, because these are all the red coffee items. All right, so now we've got that. What I can do is, well, let's just grab this one, and we get another one that is specifically for tea. So then we're going to say here, tea sales, and this will be tea, 2 different countries. So it's China and Sri Lanka. There we are. And then we can say here, tea sales. There we are. Let's grab this. This is the green one for the tea leaves. And then I'll just make this very simple. I'll make this 24 by 24. And here I will say 6 and 12. And this one I'll just make this a little bit different number so you can see this. So what I want to do later on is that when we click on one, we will trigger the specific item and of course have these buttons so we can switch to them when we want to. All right, so to do that, the first thing what I would like to do here is to create here a on hover effect, and let's start working on that. So what we're going to do is here, when we hover, we want to just make sure that the mouse cursor change to a pointer. So what we're going to do here is say on hover in the options. And then here for the on hover, we'll just say here, this will be the event. And then we can just say here the chart element that we're hovering on. Once we did that, function our expression, there we are. And then we can just say here, the moment, I already covered this in another video, so I'll just go fast in here. So the moment we have the event of hover, we want to convert this native. All right, then the native target, and then we say the style dot cursor will be equal to what exactly? The chart element here. If we are hovering on a specific item, this will be a pointer. If we're not hovering on a specific bar, then I want to convert it into a default pointer, which is basically the standard item. So now we have this, there we are, that looks quite nice. Now let's make it clickable, and for that we're going to say here on click. And with the on click we do just the same logic. This could be even a bar element, doesn't matter. That makes more sense. You would call it bar element because we are now on a bar chart where we need to hover on a bar segment or element. Alright, so what we're going to do here, what we want to do here is the following. Let's say an if statement. If we are on the chart element and there is a length, then, well, let me just show you what we're going to do here. Let's do the console log. And the console log, I'll just show you at least a little bit. We should say here maybe length. If there's a length, then it should be like that. Save. Make sure you have a comma here or else we get an error. Save. Console log. Length click. Alright, as you can see here, it's only clicking if we're clicking on a specific bar, but if we click on a white space, nothing happens. So this is the length, and of course here we will get as well the details of that specific item, the length, the bar, X and Y, all the items we have. You can see here the data, set index, and the index. Those two are important for us. So now what I want to do here is, well, let's get that item. So we're going to say here the constant, and this will be the data set, will be equal to the chart element 0.dataSetIndex. Alright, or we say here constant, and we're going to get data point, because I want this, well, not only the data set, I also need the data point of that specific bar, the position of that one, and we're going to say here chart element 0.index. There we are. So now we have this. So now, because of this, we can now grab the so-called label item. And I'm going to use a trick here. So we have this coffee and tea, and we have here this object named coffee and tea. So what I'm going to do is the following. Let's say here console log, or let's say here constant. I'm going to get the label item. How do we get this label item? Let me show you. It's basically the event. Let me just show you that first. Console log, going to get the event, and then let's save that. Open up here, click. Now we get the event. We see a click event, but look what I need. I need here the chart, and then we can go to the config, or not even in the config, it's not necessary. We can go straight away to the data. And the data is not here, but it's in here. That's this object here. Then in the data, you can see here coffee or tea. So we know that this is coffee and this is tea because of that. So if we are on index 0, there will be coffee. If it's index 1, it will be a cup of tea, basically. So that's why we have that. So say event, we're going to say chart.data, and then what I want to get is the label. I just need to know on what label are we clicking on. So we see the data, and then just here the labels. This is the labels basically where I was in. The labels, coffee, tea, that's just this one here. So we say here labels, and then index number. It will be based on the data point. Alright, so once I have that, we should now see coffee and tea. There we are. So now we could just make a very simple shorthand for that. Let's grab this. Go in here. There we are. Delete all of this. And now what I can do is the following. We're going to say here, if the label item that we're clicking on, or if we're on the bar, whenever we click on whatever the matching label would be, if this is equals strict coffee, capital C, remember, because we have here capital C coffee. So say if this is coffee, in that case I would like to do the following. I want to say the event.chart.config.data. So you might wonder, what is this? Well, event goes to the chart object, and from chart object I go to config. We're not going directly to the data. Now we go to the config, because that is like here where we are basically rendering, initiating our data. So I want to go to the standard structure, how it initiated data, because now I want to reinitiate or re-render the data we have. So what I'm going to say here will be equal to the coffee object, and the coffee object had everything. So basically this constant will come in here and it will reload. So once we did this is all done. Say here enter, and then we're going to say here event.chart, because it's a chart object. I want to update now. After this click, please update. So let's do that. Click. There we are. And now you can see here Brazil. There's a coffee related item, and this is the coffee sales. Alright, so once we have this, we can now do the same logic for T. It will be T, save, refresh. Alright, click, refresh, click. Now we have the T sales, China and Sri Lanka. Alright, this works. So the next thing what I would like to do is, how do we reset it? Well, let's make a very simple arrow here, left and right arrow, where we can click on it and we can move through, I guess, through the slides or through the pages, whatever you want to call it. So let's start to do that now. I think that would be a fun item. So to do that, what I need is, I guess, somewhere here, let's make an object. So to make the object, we should have first, comma here. We'll say plugins, because we're going to create a new item, and we're going to say here, this will be, let's say, our button. Maybe reset button is not 100% accurate, but acceptable. And then we just put it in here. Say plugin, our custom plugin will be called the reset button. So constant reset button equals ID. Then we're going to say reset button, and then sorry. Then we're going to say here, after the dataset has been drawn, after datasets drawn, chart, arc, and plugin options. Then we say a constant, and the constant will be equal to chart object, and then we're going to say here ctx, and then what I'll do here is we should probably have the chart area, because we're going to work on drawing something on the chart area, and specifically the top and the right side. That will be necessary. Alright, so what we're going to do now is say ctx.save to save all variables above. And once we did that, what I want to do here is basically the following. I want to have two triangles here, one that looks like a button pushing it to the left side, and I want pushing it to the right side, where we can slide in, or not really slide in, but just update itself, say page 1, 2, and 3. So to do that, let's draw first the shape. So I say ctx.begin, begin path. Then I'm going to say here will be ctx.fill-style, and the fill style will be, let's give it a color first, black. Then what I'm going to do here, ctx.move tool, and the move tool will be an x and y coordinate. So then what I need as well is a ctx line tool. So you might wonder, what are these? The upper one will give us the official starting point of the dot, and then after we'll make a connecting line. So we need here an x and y as well. Luckily, it will be easy for us to go in here, because we know that we have the information of the chart area. So let's start to work on, I want to be somewhere here. So we're going to create this shape pointing to the left side. To do that, I first need to have a starting point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab here the right side, which I know in the chart area, this is the right side. So from the right side, I need to move maybe 50 pixels, something like that. So what I'm going to say here, this will be right. And then, I guess we can do here minus 50 or something like that. And then what I need as well is the top. So what is the top? The top is this line here, but I want to be a bit higher. So I will say top will be minus 15 as well. So you might want them y minus. The corner here, this here, is the 0 point. The more we go to the right, the higher the value. The more we go to the left, the lower. So if we're on the right side, I need to go lower, meaning moving to the left. Same goes for the logic for the y scale basically, or for the y. The very top is 0, the very bottom is the highest value of the height of this canvas. So the more I go down, the higher the value. But if I want to go up, well, basically it's from this point here going down. If I want to go up, I need to have a negative value. So that's what I am doing here. Negative 15 means 15 pixels going upwards. All right, so let's just draw something so you have a nice visual. So I'm going to put in there. I'll say here this right. Let's make this 40 for now. And the top, I want to go down. Let's make 5. Then I'm going to say ctx dot stroke to draw this line just to see and get a visual. As you can see here, it worked, but going down here. So as you can see here, let's fine tune this a bit further. So far we are here, we're going down. So how do we go up? Well, basically I can just grab another one, and all we need to do here is stay on the same height, or negative, or sorry, this needs to increase. So let's say negative. Well, if it's 5 here, so that means that this going down is 10. So we need to fix that one, going upwards here. This needs to go up, so the difference should be this to this is 10, so this should be 25. Let's save that and see if we're going up. There we are, it's going up. Now how do we connect that here? So that would be very hard if we would have to figure that out, but there's a quick and easy trick. What I'm going to do is say ctx dot close path to make the line a closed line. There we are. Now we have a shape, which is our triangle. Now I don't want to stroke, because stroke is specifically for the lines. I want to fill up, so I'm going to create a fill shape. We say here that would be similar to this color here of black. There we are. Now we have one item. What next is the second one? I'm going to grab all of this, but now we need to do the reverse logic. What I do know is that I want to point it at the very right side here, so that's the first one. So what I'm going to do here, for the right, I guess here, we know that the width is 10 pixels in difference. So I can just say here, let's start at right side, and then here, negative 10, because it's only 10 pixels of difference. So let's save this and see if this would already create the shape. Perfect. All right, now we have that. Center needs a number, so we're going to put a number in here. For this number, I'm going to say here, let's call this a text, a number. So I say ctx dot font, and we're going to make this a bold number. So it's a bold, 12 pixels, and then we say here sans serif as font family. This is the standard settings for chart.js. So then I'm going to say here ctx dot fill style to give it a color, and for this color I'll make it black. Once we did this, we can just put it in there. Then what I want to do here, I'll say here ctx dot fill text. Let's start to draw the text here. For the text, I refer to this as our page. So what I would like to do here, I say here this will be the page. Basically this is the text here. This is the text, and then we have the x and y coordinates. So what I want to do is I want to figure out where's the center of this. That's number one. Then what I want to do here for that center, I would like to have at least the text should be aligned in the center. So I say ctx.text align, put in the center, or else it will be positioned to the left side. So then here we can just figure out what is the center based on the numbers we have here. We know that 40 is the line here, and this should be 10. So 40 and 10, that's a 30 pixel difference. That will mean that we have to calculate one of this plus 15, because it's a 30 pixel difference. So we're going to say here this will be minus 25. For the y, we can figure out what's the center of this dot point here, which is the top, minus 15. Let's grab that, put it in there. Then we save this, refresh. There we are. So that looks nice in the center. Now I want to change this. I say here, this will be page. But this page, I'm going to do the trick for that. For this page, I'm going to use hoisting. And hoisting is basically putting a value at the very top. And then after, if ever this changes, since this will change every time you click on these, so it will move. Or if you click one of this, that it will move. That's the hoisting we have. So that's what I want to do here. So I want to grab this page. And if we have an update, it will be set there. So let's refresh. There we are. If I click on this, this needs to match. So what I will say here for the T is page number 3. So page 3. And for the coffee, page 2. And for start will be page 1. So now you know the differences. So to do that, what I can do here is, let's do here, remember this. And remember, we have the hoisted value. So we say page equals 2. For T, if you click on this, page equals number 3. Let's save that. Refresh. Then I click now on this. Oh, of course, this doesn't work yet because it's not yet done. But now, there we are. That works. Here, number 2. All right. That works. So this is approved. Now, let's continue on by, when I hover over this, I would like to do 2 things. Number 1, I want to change the color of this. I want to make sure that this is colored in a way, let's say red or something like that. So what I'm going to do now is work on that. And for that, what I'm going to do here is the following. I'm going to say here, I'm going to use hoisted value as well. Let, and we say here, color left. By default, this is black. All right. So if it's black, we'll put it in here. Same here now for color right. And then if it's color right, put it in here. Save. Nothing changes. But now, let's fix this. So to give it color, what I really need to do is I need 2 things. Number 1, I need to know the coordinate for this. And it's quite interesting why this is even clickable right now. It shouldn't even be. Or what is it exactly? Is it bugged? No, I don't know what it was. Shouldn't be. Or here, is it? Somehow this part here. All right, very interesting. Sometimes yes, sometimes not. Kind of buggy. Anyway, doesn't matter for now. What I want to do is just, once we hover on this, change the cursor, change the color. Let's do that one. To do that, I need to make sure that I know the X and Y coordinates, and if I'm on the right coordinates, basically in this shape, please change this. So let's start to work on that. To do that, we're going to say after the data sets draw, let's follow this one here, comma, we have another one, and that will be the after event. And the after event will just trigger something or do something once a event occurs. In this case, let's say a chart, arcs, and then we have here the plugin options. And then what I need here is the constant, object destructuring, CTX, chart area. I will probably need them both again because we still need to have all of these coordinates. So we say here, top and right equals chart. Finally, then what I need is the X and Y. So let me just show you where you can find that. And that is where we use the arguments. This is the one that we hardly use, but for events, this is very powerful. All right, let's open up the developer tab. As you can see here, it shows here the event, and it gives us the event, the mouse move, and the X and Y coordinates. So let's grab those X and Y coordinates first. So we say here, constant X equals the arcs. Where do we go then? From arcs to event, and then X. Arcs event dot X, and then we say here constant Y equals arcs event dot Y. Once we have those, now we can do something useful. And then that's why we have these hoisted values, because we will put them in the event here, and then after we'll communicate that color there. So how do we do this? Well, what I want to do is I want to check if I am in this coordinate here, and you can see we get the x and y. So all I'm going to do here is an if statement. And in this if statement, I'm going to say if I am in the x, right? And then what exactly? Well, let's see here. If I want to do the left color left, right? So then I need to make sure that I'm within. If x is larger than this and smaller than right minus 40. All right, and now this is only for the horizontal values. Now for the y. And if y is larger, bigger than the most negative value, that's this one here. All right, so that's the lowest value. So larger than the lowest value, and y is larger than what exactly? The negative 5. All right. If this is the case, what I want to do now is say color left equals red. It's very straightforward. And then what I will say here after this, just do this one first before we do the other one. And then I'm going to say here, args dot change equals true. What this does is basically says redraw now this part above here. That's it. We just redraw the chart. All right, there we are. As you can see here right now, it's stuck. It forgets to reset it. So that's what we need to do next. So once we did this, we're going to say here else color left is black. Save, refresh. There we are. There. All right. And you can see here it's somehow in here, but are we maybe too far? The right negative right 40, and this one. Not sure why is it struggling there. It should not be even that far. Anyway, I'll leave it as it is. So what I want to do is the same logic, but I want to do the other one as well. This one here. So then if, in this case, it will be right and negative 10. So the furthest one to the left is negative 10. And then this one would be right. Okay. And then, oh, hold on, my bad, wrong one. This is the one. Color left, color right. There we are. Then we're going to say here negative 10. This was just right. What did I delete here? Nothing. Now, all right. You can see here I'm making a mistake, my bad. Because I need to say, that's why it was giving a bit of a buggy response. And then we say here, if x is smaller than that. All right. Make sure we have this, then the right. Let me just double check this one, and that would explain the weird behavior. There we are. All right, that's the weird behavior is gone. That was my bad. So make sure you pay attention here. I was just not looking what I was doing. So now we have that one here for the y. I think the same logic works. Am I correct? We have no more other differences. Everything here looks fine. All right. Beautiful. So now what I want to do is make sure that we have also the cursor being confirmed into a clickable item. So what we can do here, just same logic here. We can say args.event. And then we say here from the event, I guess we can just grab all of this here. The same item here, arg event native. There we are. It's from the event, just keep the args. All right. Then we say here, this will be pointer. pointer, and else here default. Let's put that in there. Default. Copy, put that in there, see if this all works. All right, so we have here a conflict, and the reason why it's a conflict is because of this here. Let's see. No, what about this one? What's happening is reading all these codes one by one. That makes it in trouble. Oh, I guess we should have somewhere this fixed. We'll check that later on. Maybe it needs both a else statement, one or the other. Let's see if I do this. Oh, all right, I think this works. So you have to just put in one, and probably the reason why is that this one is another one that checks and then will overrule our pointer here. Interesting. So probably this needs to be a bit fine-tuned, but I'll leave it as it is. So now we have this here. What I want to do now is make sure we click on this, and when we click on it, do something. So what is the next part? That's basically in here. I need to say now something else. For that, we're going back to event. I'm going to show you something very important in the event that we have. Let's do a console log. Event. Here we are. Open up the developer tab. There. You can see here the type is mouse move. But if I click here, there should be somewhere a type equals click. This piece of information is beautiful because we need this as well. Now instead of hovering on it, now I want to click on it. Make sure that the clicking will do something. So first of all, I need to make sure that if we click on the right coordinates, in that case, we're going to do something. So I say type equals click. That's what I want. All right. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cut this all out. Say if the click, let's remove that there. If type equals click is if type hold on, what I'm going to do here now, what I want to do is I want to make sure that it is click. Yeah, click is equals true strict. In that case, what I would like to do is I want to say page negative negative. Let's do that one first. So that means that I want to go down in page. Same here, but now here I would do plus plus to increase the page. Save, refresh. All right, so go down. All right, this needs to be fixed, of course, but you can see it is working. So what I want to do now is here take another if statement, or at least another restriction, and that is that if page is larger than 1. Must be larger than 1. If it's 1, it will not go down. For the other one, if page is smaller than 3. Alright, so now it doesn't go down, it goes up till max 3. There. And the reason why max 3 is because we only have 3 items. The reset and then the others. But as you can see here, this changes, but it doesn't change yet. So that's what we're going to do next. So now we have all of this. What I want to do now is I want to create a function for this. So what I'm going to do here, in here, I guess that should be it. When we click on this, when we click, I would like to say change data. And the change data will be based on the page value, what we have. So this is just a function. Same here, change the data. So now we just need to create a function. And I'll just do that function here. Function, change data. And then this is the parameter, this is the page. So with this parameter here, what I want to is say if the page or the parameter equals 1, in that case what I would like to do is I want to upload or reset it. So say my chart. I'm going to get this my chart object dot config and say dot data, and this will be equal to start. There we are. And then you could do the same, of course, for all 3 items. If number 2, coffee, tea, if number 3. So now we should have a changing effect. Let's see if that all works. Click, this works. Go back. All right, you can see here it doesn't work yet. And the reason I realized why it doesn't work here, why do you think? Because we did not do an my chart.update. Make sure we update this. And then once we update this, refresh, we should have, there we are. But then we click on this, nice, beautiful. Now I want to click and show me the coffee sales, there we are. And then of course we have to go back here to the reset. And that's it.